Save Our Kids is an opportunity for you to be introduced to a few school and student helpers. If there is a space or a place to improve the lives of our children, we know a few families and business owners who have made it their business to answer the call for help and provide a solution to those challenges that impact our children and eventually us all. We could not just choose one kiddo to save, so we are asking for your help to reach more. Join Keeping Your Kids Safe as we identify some of the problems and share a few solutions that have been created just for you. Hello, ladies. How are you today?
We're good. Thank you.
Hello, how are you? We're doing great.
This is amazing. I do want to thank you. Thank you for choosing to hang out here with me and work through this. I think this is going to be amazing. This is going to be a very good conversation I have today. So I do appreciate your time. So again, I want to thank you for being here with me today. I want to thank our village for working tirelessly with our children to prepare the ones you can with the tools that you currently have available. But we want to let you know we see you and we know you need help. So today our quote is going to be the necessity. Necessity is the mother of all inventions, right? That's what we do. But before we create what is needed, we first need to understand what problem we are solving for, who it is for, and then make sure that our why is bigger than the objections that we will ultimately face and encounter in education. This is definitely a conversation starter, and it's important to note that we can change the outcome of our children if we come together and make a different choice and provide solutions that improve the outcome for everyone. So we're going to get to it. So I normally like to start with some of the stats and things like that because I think it's important to understand what we're solving for. We must solve for X, right? So here we go. So I chose to do Save Our Kids because it was there was a call for help. If you take a look at the statistics and we take a look at what's happening around us, there is a problem and we have to answer that call. So let's see. There are approximately 18 million families in the United States that feed approximately 53 million children into our K through 12 system. Okay. In 2014, that number was 55 million. By 2031, it is supposed to decline to 46.9 million children. That is a problem. That is something to be said about what's going on. So we're going to break down the numbers a little further. K through 8 is 32.6 million children. Now, with all of that being said, there are only 4 million teachers across 90,000 schools in the United States, which 35% of them, let that sink in, want to quit. They want to leave. So, and that number was captured in 2023. They do not feel empowered to teach. The pay is part of it because of workload and some of the challenging behaviors that students and families actually deal with, they actually bring to the school. So the ratio by itself shows that the outcome is definitely something we need to take a look at. So we're not here to point out the faults. We're not here to say that they're doing it wrong. What we are here to do is to provide a solution to the problem and the statistics so that we can improve that. Teachers are outnumbered. Remember, the numbers is millions of children and only a few million teachers, and administrators. And because I believe critical and independent thinking impacts every area of a person's day, without it, the outcomes are what I experience with others, right? 90% of our children are sleep deprived. They are sleeping on the desk. They are not paying attention because they're too tired or they're not getting fed. They're about a year and a half behind in education. They have an increase in anxiety. And the thing that bothers me the most is that there are lower math and reading skills that are currently being highlighted. So when you look at approximately 40% of students across the nation cannot read on basics grade level, that's a problem. Let's put that in perspective. That's 13 million children who cannot read on grade level, right? But almost 70% of low income fourth graders cannot read on basic level. So that means that the low income families are having a bigger problem, right? And then there are so many more other ones. We know that there's about 87% high school graduation. But here's the thing, one thing I noticed. I never understood representation. I got it, but I didn't really truly understand what representation meant to a child until I realized that if I don't see it, I cannot dream it, right? If I don't see a Black teacher, I will not aspire to be a teacher. So let's be very clear. If you have one Black teacher, it increases high school graduation by 7% and then 13% enroll in a college. When you add two Black teachers, it increases to 32%. What I want to share with you is what I found out was that in the United States, we only make up 7% of the teaching staff. That's why we're not having a whole lot of teachers, but we do have a lot of HBCUs that are actually supporting that and actually moving through. We will talk a little bit about bullying because 1 in 5 kids are bullied in the United States. And I want to talk a little bit about the parents' involvement when it comes to bring your own devices. What happens to that money? School supplies. Parents are supplying the school supplies the schools used to have, but now currently not. And then not everybody's going to bring those school supplies. So because we brought you here, now I just want to share with everybody what you do and what you're about, because I feel like it's time to introduce our panel to everyone. So we'll go ahead. Okay. Don't worry, she'll be back. This happens enough. So we're gonna go ahead and we'll start with Petra. Petra, tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and what problems you're looking to work to solve.
Well, thank you so very much, first and foremost, Ms. Tabitha, for inviting me to this special event. I am Ashley's Angels. I'm an advocate, a very strong advocate against child abuse. I have a saying, one sentence. If I see you doing the abuse, if I see you, I will say something. And that should always be a part of every parent, every school educator in their mind. If you see something, you say something. Don't be silent. Speak out loud. Speak it. Don't just talk about it. Walk the talk. So I have been advocating since 1996. My child was murdered in 1994 in a daycare, drowning. He was literally murdered by another child. But anyway, so that's when I started my advocacy, helping children not hurt any longer. How do I do that? Well, get involved with especially the educational part. If you're a parent and your child is in school and you see that the child is hurting somewhere or it's lacking something, a parent can help. I mean, it comes within the home. It starts within the home. So basically, I'm advocating for our children. If they're my own, anybody's child, I'm advocating for them. And I will always be ready to go to jump in action. So I'm just here to help whichever way I can, so we can finally find a solution for our school system. So I am grateful that I can be part of this, because now it makes me feel that now I finally have fulfilled my promise to my son to help these children.
Appreciate you sharing that with us. My heart just broke, but and I'm glad that we're talking about this today with you, because I do believe that you are going to be the one voice that I think that a lot of parents need to understand and hear. Bullying is a problem, and it doesn't matter what you think may be happening or not happening. The bottom line is that when someone says this is what's happening, it is our responsibility as the adults, as the ones that are leading the charge, to do something more. So we'll get a little bit more into that, but I do thank you very much for you sharing that, Petra.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, Benita, you're up. Let's see, hear what you're here to do. What do you do?
Oh wow, do it all. No. Hello everyone.
Uh-oh.
Thank you so much for this space to discuss all things in education. So that's what I do. I own a company called Global Education Concierge, and we things about education. So if you are a struggling parent and you realize that you need an advocate, or you realize that this is not the right fit of schooling for your child, you come to us and we help you find another traditional school, non-traditional schooling. What is it that your child needs to be successful? You could be a teacher who is ready and at 35% to leave. And we sit down and we talk about it. What are you actually trying to leave? Do you need to change schools? Do you need to change districts? Do you need to change grades? Or are you literally ready to leave the traditional classroom but not education? Or are you ready to leave education altogether? Like, how can we help you? Then we have started a micro school for tweens and teens. I've been in education for 25 years. Up and down, and my philosophy has never changed. I'm here to teach kids. I want kids to have educators like I had grown up in rural Virginia. And at times, and we know that education may not be in a traditional classroom. So we started a micro school. In a micro school, we help students, tweens, and teens find their place. Kids want to learn, and kids love to learn, but their love of school is dwindling. And so that's where we come back in and we help the parents, and we help educators. I don't want educators to feel burned out. I felt that before.
Yeah.
After 25 years during COVID, I had to do like other educators and we had to pivot. I had no problem doing it, but I had colleagues that we had to coach through. And we no longer can teach like we did before the pandemic came. We have to adjust, and our clientele, the parents and the student, want more of us. I saw a sliver of hope and then they closed it down and we went back to this traditionalistic 1942 foolishness. And so I'm here to disrupt that.
Right. I like it. And I said for you, I definitely think that for you, I feel like you are the answer, because a lot of parents don't realize that they have options and choices. And I love the fact that you are here to let us know that we have options and choices. Just because you're fed into one program does not mean that's the program you must stick with. And so we're going to dive a little bit more into that. So I do definitely thank you for that. So Miss Wendy, you're up, or Dr. Wendy, I'm sorry, Dr. Wendy, you're up next.
Okay. Oh, you're so sweet. First, I want to just touch on Petra. Oh my gosh, just my heart. The same thing that Tabitha said. My heart just sank. I am so sorry for your loss, but I am so proud of you somehow to have the kind of strength you do to advocate. You wouldn't have to be that strong or have made that choice. And so I just want to recognize how difficult that is. My parents lost a child. Older, 19, but just God bless you. Love you. And absolutely. And gosh, Benita, I loved what you said. The 1942 foolishness. Isn't it the truth? When COVID-19 hit, we were all understanding that caring about how our children feel and who they are as people is primary. Caring about their SEL, social emotional learning, social emotional beings. And that's what you're speaking to. And I'm just so honored to be on a panel with you as well. And I love that you are advocating for not only the children, but the parents to understand how to advocate for their children with the understanding that they have choices. Too often in communities, it feels like people with greater resources who are not greater have more information about understanding that they can stand up for their children. They can make choices with where their kids go to school. And that's a travesty. I'm going to try to be as succinct as possible, but when we're educators, we're kind of verbal. So let me try to give you just a quick background. So for almost 30 years, I've been in education. And I started an organization called Jelly Beans Creative Learning that ran from 96 to 2014. And in that work, it was really wanting to train teachers and work with kids using play or experiential kind of learning and empower others to be able to offer that to our children. In doing so, I was also teaching parents. I was teaching parents how to value and understand child development and then be able to be advocates. But during that time, I did have projects and had year-long times I would jump in with a community expert license and teach in some inner cities. And I will tell you that that is a piece of what is a strong impetus for me to try to be, I'm not a hero, but to try to be a voice for what I witnessed. I saw up close how schools are not fair to children at all in communities where the tax base isn't as large. And so I dealt with being up close, seeing crappy materials, no books, children who are traumatized from tougher communities with poverty, but also trauma, generational trauma. And so when I up close worked with beautiful children who I got so close to, it never left me. And I won't go into some of the stories I talked about in my doctoral documentary dissertation. But that's really it. It was being up close with these beautiful children who were worthy and of value, who were being given the opposite message, right? And so I applaud all three of you, and I'm on the same page. Now, what I think I can offer our organization, I'm Dr. Wendy Mulhauser-Tingblad, AKA Sissy Mary Sue. I'm a children's author. And what was really important for me was representation in all media. So I wanted our children to feel themselves and see themselves in books, and not just the kids, but their parents. So I wanted the Black female pilot in the story, and I wanted the beautiful Barbeg tribe I stayed with to show the beauty of this tribe and how we have a shared humanity with one another. When you mentioned representation with teachers, I do have a book called Tristy Sparkles, The Teacher and Others Who Shine. And the teacher is a Black teacher. And there's another book called Dunning & Bauer with a Black male teacher. And the idea with that, again, was not just representation in general of marginalized or minorities in positions of power and accomplishment or authority, but also, like you were saying, that piece about education. I want everyone to see teachers in books and in film and in TV and in technology. So I think what I'm trying to do with a nonprofit called Sissy Mary Sue Education Fund, we're multimedia, and most multimedia organizations are not nonprofit. But I'm not motivated by resources. I'm motivated by serving. So some of what we are after is wonderful representation to honor all people and to help change the systems. But then the other piece that we are doing is we are forming a college for greater access for everyone. And within the college, we plan to do a lab school. And then the other piece that we're really excited about is an aviation program to help women, especially women of color, become pilots, because there is not enough diversity in aviation. So we are trying to work on certain things with that. But we do youth programs. We have a musical play based on Jelly Beans, the Cheetah and Hope. And we see this as a really wonderful DEI tool and a multi-dimensional learning apparatus because it's set with this beautiful tribe in Africa. We had done a clean water project, but that's not the point. We're not the heroes by going to do that. The main thing that comes across in the teaching is the amazing tribe who taught all of us far more than we did for them, because they lived in peace and harmony and love in a way that we in the Western world have have forgotten. We are chasing achievement and the other too much. Now that isn't to say that what you are talking about as far as helping young people with every background to have success. I'm not saying that every child has that capacity, and we need to be serving and making sure kids have the same opportunities. But we also need to help reach our children where they are. Going back to the scoring lower in math and reading, we are living in a time where we are not even engaging our children with human interaction. And we know as mothers and as people, if some of us are mothers and some of us aren't, as people and mothers and teachers, that language learning happens through using language just like everything else, right? And so if you aren't watching people having meaningful interactions, and the people who are loving you are not interacting with you, of course, our children are not going to be developing as well with their language ability and their reading ability. And so that's where I come in with my play pedagogy, my creative play pedagogy, because that's been my lane for these almost 30 years, is to encourage teachers and parents to embrace and understand that that's cognitive development. That is emotional development. And our children need to be interacting with each other so that they are developing those two areas, but also so they're developing self-regulation and coping skills and resiliency, because when they're practicing in play ups and downs, it's a really safe arena to do that in. But anyway, I know I'm going a little bit long, but just we all have a different something we're doing. I've mentioned this to Tabitha. I think we have to continue to get very clever about how we are offering DEI and inclusive kinds of messages in our world. And that's why using arts is so powerful, because arts is how to do it in a way. And then because I have the play pedagogy training and teaching that I've done all these years, and now I'm not any better with the doctorate, but now since I have a doctorate behind my name and more study and the dissertation, then I can come to the table in a different way. But I'm telling you, with a BA, I was saying the same thing for almost 30 years. Anyway, but I'll stop there. But I'm just thrilled, and I'm honored to serve kids in any way I can. And we do equity in teaching and empathy in teaching awards too, to honor and recognize teachers who are caring, and that the barriers that exist with people of color becoming teachers are the other areas we need to address. And one of my professors named who was it? Dr. Kitty Kelly Epstein brought that to our attention as doctoral students when we were in a class. And that was part of the impetus for me doing the books with the Black educators, but people who were in my life who I was just so in awe of. So I wanted to honor them too. They're real people. So anyway.
That's very cool. I'm so glad that you're here. And so that's what I want for sure. There's a lot of play that has to be involved as far as teaching and everything. And we'll dive a little bit more into that. So I thank you very much.
Not a problem.
So then there's me. All right. So my name is Tabitha Barron, and I am the founder of Keeping Your Kids Safe. Because of various situations that I have witnessed over the years, I realized that there was a time for us to find a solution to a problem that says our children's voices do count for something. They do know something, right? When my niece advocated for herself and said, "This is not my bus," an educator shut her down and told her, "Get on this bus anyway. Your family is not here." What happens after that becomes significant for us later, because 10 years now, she's still struggling with her own voice, being able to speak up for herself and things like that. And I want to make sure that children don't have that. We've had children left on the back of school buses and who have ultimately, some of them have died. Some of them have woken up and completely not known where they were. We've had the largest settlement given to a family was close to $24 million out in California for loss of life. That young man was 19 years old and autistic. How do you leave a child that old on a bus and ultimately they succumb to, heat and die? Our system does not allow for that to happen. Our system actually allows everyone to communicate effectively that child's way to their next destination as a walker and a biker, a car rider, a child care bus rider, and a yellow bus rider, because it's not just about the yellow bus. And so that's what we do. And so now for that, I say, this is why we're here. I wanted to make sure that we were all being very clear about what we're here to do and the problems that we are working to solve. And for that, and I want to go ahead and say to everyone, thank you very much for Phil. You're here. Love to see you. I'm always glad to see Phil and Catherine. She loves being part of our village. That is definitely a good thing. I'll get to everybody's questions as we move along, and for sure. Oh, you got Jolene. Nice. A promise to a child. I believe that is a really big thing. That's something, I mean, and you're fulfilling that because I feel like for you, bullying is a part of that. And as young, it starts young, and a lot of times it is based off of some of what the children have said, right? And so so children get bullied all the time. My niece got bullied, and I called the Board of Education, and I was like, let me explain, because you guys are participating in this in a way that's not okay. And we were able to solve that, right? And so that was important. Jolene always says, Jolene, Benita, adjust and disrupt. Exactly. We definitely need to be able to do that, for sure, because there's a lot of people who need to be disrupted. You need to interrupt that pattern of the same bad behaviors that continue to get us right here. I do want to thank this person here, MD, so for a unique opportunity to join our program. So we do need to figure out how we're going to save our kids, because this is up to us. This is not them. Our children, that's victim blaming. Children, you must figure out how to read on your own grade level. Wrong. That's us, right? That's our responsibility to do. So that's what I kind of look at. So we do know that so if we go to the bullying part, so did you know that 5.4 million children skip school every day due to bullying? I didn't know that until I started looking it up.
Yeah.
And 60% of boys who are bullied will have at least one criminal conviction by the age of 24.
Yep.
Okay. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. You have to stop this stuff in its tracks. You cannot continue to have this stuff just like, oh, boys will be boys. No, because that mess turns into adult behavior that turns into what we currently have in corporate America. And so what we do today does impact our outcome for tomorrow. So we do need to be mindful of that. And it also says in the 90s, 12 out of 15 of the active shooters all reported being bullied. So if the problem starts there in their minds, it must end there. So that's what they're going for. So we want to be mindful of that. So ladies, what do you think is what are you concerned about with this school year? Because we've already started. So what is the one thing that you would like to see addressed in this upcoming school year that you feel as though your programs and what you do would be able to assist these educators? Anybody?
Well-being is primary. Caring about how children feel. No education can happen without a child feeling loved and cared about and safe. And I think when we teach our kids from a young age that we value who they are and how they feel, that's self-care. That's a life that will continue like that. And like you said, a person who can stand up for themselves and speak what their truth is and what their needs are. And all the other comes after. I'm tired of hearing people say everybody's behind. No, stop saying that. If whatever you say, you attach and it becomes self-fulfilling, right? We're not saying that. Mm-hmm. We are understanding as a world what happened with COVID-19. Of course, it's going to be a different situation at levels of education right now. We need to be respectful of that. So I'll let some other people chime in.
Yes.
So bullying has been, so let me go back. Let's do a historical thing. Bullying has always happened. We know that. Okay. Yes. We can look at the TV shows, we can look at music, we can look at everything. Bullying has always happened. What has changed, and I saw someone put it up earlier, is the emotional intelligence of people. What has changed is now we have the incorporation of social media and access to electronics on a consistent basis, which we all know, whether we've done it, I have not, or we've had it done to us. People grow some balls when you're on social media. You feel like you can say whatever you want to say and do whatever you want to do, and that is not
That is not acceptable.
No,
100%.
that's right.
just adults. So me working in middle school for over 20 years, our bullying has transferred from playground to now technology.
Right.
And so I would say students actually in the United States started today. I'm from Virginia, so we used to be after Labor Day crew. And so I know the Northeastern states, most of them started today, if they had not started already. So I'm gonna give you 3 real quick things. 1, parents, guardians, aunties. I'm that auntie, godmothers, godfathers, grandparents, community. You have to know the social media that.
Yeah.
She cut out.
And speak to it. I was teaching an online class with CILC from my books on bullying. And I was teaching about having empathy and understanding people, having a sensitivity. Because if we can put ourselves in somebody else's shoes and think, what's this behavior? What's the source of this? And oftentimes it's because that person was bullied at home or was mistreated. And if we can come up with kindness and calmness, there are times when that can change that empathetic. Go ahead. I was filling in as your thing froze. But
Thank you. I see it. I flashed out.
Yeah.
And so.
Oh, shoot.
Yes,
yeah. Fletcher, do you want to take it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Bullying is the worst kind of act that can happen. It was in school or outside of the school. I really do believe that now, since COVID happened, virtual reality came in. Virtual reality for children were provided, so they have something to do, play games. Most of them, believe it or not, there are violent games. To me, I have seen and studied what kind of games they are picking. Of course, parents do monitor some of them. It shouldn't be some of them. It should be all of them. Watch your child. Watch their behavior. If their behavior changes, they're less to be happy, or you can see it on a child's face. There's something wrong. Okay, you're your parent. You are the parent. This is your child. You know if there are changes with your child, something is going on. Investigate. Look into the school. Speak with your child first. If the child is too scared to say anything, then there is an issue with the communication part. I'm fixing to put out a manual that's called Unheard Trails of Tears and Shattering the Silence. This is a manual for children to see the signs. This is what it looks like. I am when the child says, I'm being hurt here, but who do I go to? And within my book, it says, well, if you cannot trust the parent, or if you do not feel that you have any trust within the adult that takes care of you or you are around with, then run. Open that door and run to the safest persons that you know. If you please do it ahead of time, make plans. Know if it's your grandma, grandpa, or if it's your teacher, especially the teacher. Go to them, speak it out. As soon as you do, we can rectify the issue. If you're being bullied in school, don't be silent. Say something. Approach someone you trust. It's not going to come back at you. It's going to help you as a child, because this bullying in school or outside of school, that is going to stop. There are so many children that had committed suicide because of that. Why? Why? It could have been prevented. That child didn't know how to communicate or say out loud. I know me as a child, I was bullied. Yes, I'm from Germany. I was bullied. I was grown up rough. My grandpa saw that this 8-year-old, and I was only 6, 8-year always had a habit of bullying me right before I got home. My grandpa stood at the front door and said, "Now I had enough. If you want to come into my home, you go do what you need to do to make that stop, because he's hitting you, bullying you every single day. Make it stop." Now, that was 50 years ago, but the thing is that please, children, please, parents, please, teachers, watch out for the signs. They are there. Clearly, it shows on a child's face. The innocence of the child is gone. Now you have fear in their face. You can see this. So if we advocates can help in any kind of way, shape or form, please come and speak to us. Tell us what is going on. How, if you don't find a solution for it, we are more than happy to help. We no more silence. We are not the ones anymore behind the curtain just watching this happen. We are standing up. We are multiplying it by the millions. So abusers, bullies, we see you. We see you. You can play a chameleon all day long if you like, but we still see you. And we will make it stop.
I agree.
That's how I feel about this. So
I definitely agree with that. And the reason why, for sure, is that I know that we're talking a little bit about the bullying part, because I find that, so I was bullied when I was growing up as well. So I'm very tall. I look very short here, but I am not. So I'm very tall. I'm a very tall person. And I got bullied my whole entire, my K through 12. And but I had to get with a couple people in order for that bullying to stop. My thing is that at the end of the day, so this is what, unfortunately, you teach what my dear friend says, you teach what you tolerate, right? Yeah. Oh, I finally got it, Catherine. Yes. You teach what you tolerate, right? Yeah. And I was tolerating this because I was told that it will go away. This is not a forever thing. Let it, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie. That's the biggest lie ever told to a child in a nursery rhyme. It's not real. Okay. We are seeing the outcomes of all of that. My thing is that ultimately I had to get next to people in place and do things that I did not wish or want to do. So I had to fight my way out into a place where they said, okay, I no longer would tangle with her because I come out on the losing side. But the point is that I'm thinking, okay, whew, thank goodness I made it through. I'm in school and everything. I'm in college and I'm being abused. I am being rammed. I am being punched. I am being stomped on by a boy. And when I said to the teacher, instructor, and the professor, hey, can you help me here? He was like, you guys have got to work that out. Are you flipping kidding me? I'm a girl. Why is this dude treating me like I was a football tackle every time he's seen me? So then I was like, okay, I made it. First of all, I'm not going to in order to get that to stop. But then after that, I went into the workplace. When I got into the workplace, I'm like, oh, I'm safe. That is a lie. The bullies are there too. Now I'm being bullied in every job that I'm in. It's either you touch me where I don't want to be touched, or you push me into a corner and you say things inappropriate and unacceptable and things like that. So what I'm saying is that this stuff is a lifelong thing. This is not something that just goes away
Yes.
when we say we're going to make it go away. It doesn't work that way. And if we don't get it under control, we end up with a lot of people with a lot of bad behaviors doing a lot of bad things. And then we're having to handle them and deal with them later. But remember that 60% actually have a criminal conviction by the age of 24, and that's our boys. So we're losing our boys who are turning into young men into a system who is unforgiving of these bad behaviors, where we have the opportunity to resolve it at an earlier time.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to go ahead and let Benita finish what she was working to say. Go ahead, Benita.
Thank
I
you
know
so
you.
much for patience and understanding, because my whole computer just shut down. It was just like, oh no, we don't want to do it. No, thank you. The computer was bullying me. But I do want to say, one, there is some feedback. I'm not sure if everybody can hear it. And then two, I was listening to the conversation, but I am going to say, to close up this part for bullying, we have to remember that as educators in the classroom, when a child, and they are children, comes to us and says, someone is bothering me, someone is picking on me, someone is making me feel uncomfortable, we have to honor what they're saying, listen to what they're saying. As an educator, my job is to document, listen, and then I go find the guidance counselor, the assistant principal, and at times we have a child therapist, a psychologist in the building and on duty, and I let all of them know. So teachers, our job is to document. Our job is to ensure that our students are safe. My classroom is a safe zone, even for me. Even for me. And so as educators, we have to remember not to shove it off. Now, there are times when it's a teachable moment immediately. Like there have been times where I've said, I would like for you to go back to that student and let them know, I did not like how you said this to me. It was not appropriate. And that the next time I ask, you can simply say, no, thank you, or I do not want to share what I have right now. There are teachable moments where it before it gets to bullying, or we're teaching you how to set boundaries. We're teaching that student how to respond. We're teaching that student how to stand up. But we also know that we know that if a child comes to me, I've had students come to me with sticky notes and walk away and told me what was going on. I've had students send me the social media. Don't do that. But they send me the social media in like a Google file. And I'm like, what is this? Oh no. It is our obligation as the protectors of these children while they are with us all day, every day, except for on the weekends. And sometimes if you're a coach on the weekends, to ensure that they feel safe. And the flip, it is also our business to make sure that the child is bullying gets the proper help. We
So
have
I
to
agree with
stop
that.
the cycle.
Yes,
We have
I
to
agree
stop
with
the
that.
cycle.
Yes, I 100% agree
That's
with
all.
that. So I'm going to read what Phil says at the bottom part. So thank you, Phil. So bullying is so difficult to overcome when the culture accepts this behavior outside of the school, and our kids continue to be ill prepared to deal with it. So that is an excellent point and leads right into the fact that here's the deal. You mentioned the fact that the teacher's responsibility, it's the adults, regardless of where you are in the teaching day. I think people are under the impression that I, as a parent, am not a teacher and you are just a teacher. Wrong answer. I, as a parent, am the teacher at home. And here, and I'm going to break this down. And then you are
The
the
first
teacher at
teacher.
school,
Right. You're the
right?
first
Your
teacher.
own, exactly. I am the very first teacher. So I did it. If you have 24 hours in a day and you are out of the home 10 hours out of the day, okay, that means you only have 14 hours left, right? 8 hours are potentially used for sleep for that child. So that is 8 hours. So now we're down to 6. You still have to eat and prepare for the next day. You're potentially only looking at 2 hours a day as a parent to parent your child after they enter into as you're going to work, right? But when they go into school, those 10 hours are set up with two groups of people: childcare and school. So if we are not all on the same page when it comes to teaching those children coping skills, critical thinking, and independent thinking, and being able to conflict management, if you're not teaching that, if you as a parent only have 2 hours a day and some time on the weekend, then that means your partner in crime, partner in education, being educators, need to be picking up the rest of that. So if my child is not feeling safe enough to come home and say, hey, Mary over there or Joe over there is hurting me or makes me feel uncomfortable, then where else can they go? Oh, school. School is a mandate. What parents do not know: school, mandatory reporters. If you see abuse and do not report, if you see a crime on a child and do not report, you will lose your license. You will lose your credibility, accreditation, and everything associated with your education. Period. You are mandatory to report. And my thing is, at some given point in time, we've got to do better than what we're doing now. So I know bullying was our. Go ahead, Dr. Wendy.
Mhm.
Oh, you're on mute. You got to unmute yourself. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, we're having technical troubles today. I don't know. She'll be back and we'll
okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But I do want to say that one of the things when she comes back in, but one of the things that is important is that we train kids and adults to understand that there is a difference between picking and bullying. And we have to show them the line to cross. Here she is.
And,
There you go. Go ahead, Dr. Wendy.
so this is such a robust, wonderful conversation. I want to go back to something that Benita was talking about. She is such a wonderful walkie-talkie, where she walks her talk. She's a loving, wonderful example to her students of being caring, of not being a bully, of being relational, right? Of building relationships. That's not always the case, sadly, in education. There are amazing teachers. Do not get my next comment wrong. There are amazing teachers in our world. However, the way the system is set up, with admin and superintendents and the states and the nation, there's so much pressure on the leaders. And oftentimes the teachers who are leaders end up being a little more dictatorial at times and not as relational. And you've got big classrooms, you've got lots of challenges, you have all of those elements that I was talking about, all those pressures, all those different levels. And I'm thinking sometimes certain teachers in certain situations are modeling bullying. The system can bully. And when kids are marginalized and their parents don't feel like they have the same voices because they're not from the same socioeconomic background, which is appalling. Every child, every person is of value. But the world does not perpetuate that. And that's what we're talking about today. But there's too much controlling and not being relational in a classroom, and building a learning community, building a space where you are collaborating together. I've always looked at education, and I think Benita does too. We're facilitators in a room. We are the leader in the room. We are adults. We have the level of education and experience to be teachers. But we also don't exploit that position of power. We decide to look at ourselves in the facilitation role as the walkie-talkie, modeling, listening to our students like you so eloquently talked about, with listening, with hearing, and then also holding someone accountable to maybe how he or she talked to you, but doing it in a loving, caring, interactive, relational way. And I guess that's my main point. But I think that education is set up too hierarchical, and that's counterproductive to children feeling safe, happy, understanding themselves. And that bullying piece that Tabitha was talking about, that follows us every has a potential at every area in our lives. That's why that teaching children the emotional health first is so incredibly important. Plus, having equity. When a child has felt that they don't have value, they are going to continue to question and be more vulnerable to that. I was thinking, and I won't go on this very long, but even in certain medical situations, women or any gender, but marginalized people especially, are not heard and can be bullied by a professional. When you are the one living the pain or the uncertainty of something that's happening, but you have someone who's trying to pat you on the head and not even communicate with you or not value that. So from a young age, giving our children enough empowerment to feel their value, to feel their own intellect and worthiness is key. And that comes again back to the self, that caring about self first, teaching about well-being first, and that's where play pedagogy and learning creatively, interactively gives opportunities for human interaction, loving, encouraging, supporting one another. Anyway, and teachers need that. Anyway, sorry, I'm an educator. I apologize. That's my soapbox. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Good job. So here's my thing. So as we go to begin the wrap up, at the end of the day, our children today are the ones, they will be here. They will be our dentists, our doctors, our teachers, and everyone else in between. And it is up to us to make the decision on how they are going to present to the rest of the world.
Right.
So I have my child for 18 years. The world has them for the balance, right? So then they get to determine whether or not I'm a part of their life or not after the age of 18. And we need to be mindful of that. When we get to find out, we get to truly find out how well we did as parents and educators when we release them for the rest of their lives to go out and apply all of the skill set that we have given them, whether it's at home with the life skills that we are instilling in them, all the way into the schools where they're being indoctrinated with the education and the academics and all of those things. And those two pieces together mesh with the community that's going to beat you up too. I'm here to tell you, community. How many of you came from a community where you, before you got home, they were calling and telling on you? She done took down that, took down this, or she done threw a brick through there and stuff like that. That community helps keep you together and in line and alive long enough to do great things in their lives. But we cannot excuse it just because we're claiming that we're not the teacher. I'm number one, I'm the first teacher. The teaching body that I choose for my children have to be, we are partners in all of this. So this type of conversations is to outline and bring to light what we are struggling with as parents and as community and as the village, and say, these are the things that I'm concerned about. And here are the solutions that are available to you. So Petra has Ashley's Angels, and she's an advocate, and she has legal background. And Dr. Wendy says, hey, we have play, DEI, we have books, we have things, and what did you call it? Pedagogy that
Play pedagogy.
to support, right? And then we have Miss Benita over here who says, look here, we can help you with your retention. And if you don't want to help with, if they don't want to help with their retention, we will help you find a group of people who will meet your child's requirements. Those are the solutions that have been brought here today. So I would encourage anybody and everybody who is sitting here listening to us and everything, that we're here. We said, here's our problem. Here's the solution. Now go figure out how we're going to get there, because that is the most important part of it all. Because without that, we're going to have How many of you have had the experience with customer service and you were like, I just want to snatch a knot in you because you have zero customer service?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I wouldn't.
That is an exact.
I'm Midwestern. I
That is
wouldn't
a pure
do
example.
it.
I'm not even going to participate in that.
Everybody's like, no, we can't do it. No, because I have had it. I've had some really, really good customer service, and I'm like, whoa, where did you go to school? Who was your mama? So I can say thank you. Right? And then I've had some other ones where I'm like, I'm gonna need you to get fired because this don't make no kind of sense. So, but so the mirror is reflecting back on us what we did and what we did not do, plain and simple.
Absolutely.
So
I
as we
just want to take a
go ahead.
Can I
Go
take a moment just to say thank you, Jolene? Thank you, my friend Haki. I invited him here. Thank you, Phil, for being here. Thank all of you for being here. This has been tremendous. There's not even a word for it. Make a change. Change. We need that change.
We all need to
Let's do it for our children. Pay attention. Yes, absolutely. God put us together for a reason. This right here is the time. God says, this is the time. Let's do this. I put you here together to help out, to make that difference. And we are not going away. We are here to stay until the end. We are not going anywhere. It doesn't matter how rough it gets. We will help you pave that road for your future, for your child to walk with their future. Okay, we're the ones that are paving that road. It's up to you if your child will have a rocky road to walk on or a smooth road to walk on. So when I grew up with very harsh, I love my family, they're no longer around, but they paved a road that was rough a little at the beginning on purpose. But since I'm only 5'2" and my father was 6'7", so he was always, okay, you're not growing anymore, so now I have to figure out how are you going to protect yourself? I'll teach you. So that's what needs to happen. Whatever happened to that, parents, please, just make it as smooth as possible. Just pay attention. Just watch and get involved more. And I just absolutely love this time and everyone that has joined with us, Miss Jolene, Mr. Haki, Phil, everyone, please. The more, the merrier. The more individuals we're having going forward with this, we have to stand up. We are standing up. We are going to get louder and louder, and you're not going to like it. I'm from Germany, so when I get angry, my voice gets loud. And people would like, oh, no, I can't see her. But I hear her, just her.
That's right.
So,
Do something.
that's my defense system.
Can I share?
Yes, go ahead. So go ahead, share and tell people how they should get in contact with you.
Oh, you're so sweet. First, this is what I want to say. Thank you, Petra, for your passion. And then I want to say this line: preserving childhood preserves humankind and our natural world. And all of us in our world taking the responsibility for every child is key. SissyMarySue.org, SYMARYSUE.org is our nonprofit website. And my email address is the same thing, SissyMarySue@gmail.com. I'm honored. Thank you so much, Tabitha, Benita, Petra, for your passion, your dedication, and your amazing positive power. There is positive power here. There doesn't have to be negative power in the world. We are positive power.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you so much.
So thank you. So thank you, first of all, always for space and opportunity to talk about education. and to talk about the foolishness, but also to give people the answer. Because we can talk about it all day. But if you don't give me some options and you don't give me any answers, we just over here gossiping. And I don't have time for that. I am on social. I'm on social media. I am the education concierge on social media. I have a website. It is literally Global Education Concierge. I'm always on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Slide into my DMs professionally. Thank you. And we can connect. And I will be here to help you out. We are opening the GGEC Academy here in South Florida. So if you haven't heard about what Florida is doing, I don't have time, but go research it for yourself. But we want to give options to BIPOC students, LGBTQIA students. We want to give them options to be safe in the education environment. We also want to give options to parents who know that their child needs to be homeschooled, but because of the economy, they need to work. And so we are giving them the opportunity to have a safe space for 3 days or 5 days for their students to come into the academy. We educate, we do project-based learning, we do all of the things that I didn't have time to do in a traditional school that I know I needed to do to ensure that I was teaching a whole child. That's all. Thank you so much for this.
Nice.
Thank you all for showing up and for showing out, my friends. At this day, I'm so glad to very thankful to be part of the village that includes you ladies and a few of the others. We got Phil, we got Catherine, we got Jolene, we got Raquel. We got a lot of people in here pitching for us. And so next week we'll have the same conversation. Anybody who wants to connect with me, go ahead and connect with me on LinkedIn. And I do appreciate your time that you spent with us today. Till next time, next week, same time, same place. Thank you for your time today. We appreciate the support and look forward to you visiting us again next week, same time, same place. Until then, words are power. Please remember to use them wisely. If you have an interest, like to be on our live show, please let us know and send us a direct message.